Hey guys, today I'm here to do the BookTuber shoutout tag. Now I normally try and feature other booktubers and booktube videos in my monthly favorites videos just so that you guys can see what I've been watching and who I've been watching over the past month or so. Recently, Sabrina from Unmanaged Mischief was kind enough to feature me in her own booktube shoutouts video, and it occurred to me that I've been a booktuber for about 2.5 years now, but I have yet to sit down and make a booktube recommendations video or shoutouts video, and that's kind of a crime. So today we're finally rectifying that mistake. I believe the initial intent behind these questions was to just provide one channel as an answer, but I was having a hard time capping myself, so I'm going to be talking about 2 or 3 channels for some answers and just one for others. It's going to be a little bit all over the place, and it's probably going to be a relatively long video, so I would encourage you to go get a snack or a drink or something, and don't worry about writing any of these channels down because I will link them all in the description. Like most people, I'm pretty sure that Books and Quills was the first booktube channel that I ever came across before I even knew that booktube was actually a thing. I believe Sana was featured as some beauty vlogger's person of the month, and I immediately went and checked out her channel, and then once I saw that she actually did talk about books, I immediately subscribed. The other channel that I found right around the same time was The Readables, and from there I kind of delved straight into the world of booktube and never looked back. I'm not entirely sure which the last booktuber I subscribed to was, but most recently I subscribed to Well Done Books and was completely shocked that I hadn't discovered the channel before or hadn't been watching his videos before, because he reads a lot of literary fiction and has a lot of really intelligent things to say about the books that he reads, and that's kind of exactly what I like in a booktuber. The other channel that I subscribed to recently was Bitten by a Radioactive Book, and this is a channel I heard about from Sam at Novels and Nonsense. It's basically a channel for all fantasy lovers. He reads a crap ton of fantasy all at the same time, and so far I'm really enjoying his videos. Some booktubers who inspired me to start my channel were obviously Sana from Books and Quills, because she was the first booktuber I ever found. She was the first one that got me thinking, okay, well, if people are watching videos about books, this is totally something I could talk about. Aside from Sana, Rincey from Rincey Reads was definitely a huge inspiration behind me starting my own channel, because she's kind of like me in that she reads from a very wide variety of genres and forms and topics, and for me that made me feel like there was a place for people who didn't read exclusively YA. For booktubers who have been with me since the beginning of my channel, I definitely have to mention Angelica M 2009. She started commenting on some of my very first videos, and she has always given me very helpful feedback both in comments and on Twitter, and she's just a very nice person. The other person I definitely have to mention is Elizabeth from Books and Pieces, and kind of a fun fact is that Elizabeth and I started our channels within like the same month of each other, and so it's been a lot of fun for me to watch her channel blow up and watch her videos get increasingly more and more creative. One channel that I have followed since it first came into being was Book Need Love. Gary was actually one of my very first subscribers, and so when he started putting out videos himself, I immediately went and subscribed. He hasn't been making videos recently because I know that he graduated and he's been traveling, but he reads both classics and young adult fiction, and I think it's really cool because English is not his first language, but he still tackles very challenging books and has pretty interesting things to say about them once he's through reading. Another booktuber I followed since she first started putting out videos is Amy from The Collected Works, who is actually another channel that's not currently super active right now because I know she's in some kind of medical student training. She is a booktuber from Australia, and she makes a point to highlight Australian fiction throughout her videos, and I think that's really cool because I actually didn't realize that I didn't know anything about Australian authors until I started watching her channel. One booktuber whose creativity I'm really inspired by is Rosanna from Rosanna House Rojas, or Paper Time Lady, whichever is her proper YouTube name. Rosanna posts not only book reviews and book discussion videos, but also just a lot of videos talking about life as a 20-something in this weird technology age, and everything about her is so inspiring, and when I'm in any kind of a slump, whether it's just like emotionally, life-wise, or reading-wise, I just run through her videos and immediately feel better. The other booktuber whose creativity I'm always impressed by is Ariel Bissett. First of all, she created the BookTubeathon and she continues to coordinate it and make sure it all happens, and to me that is so creative and so impressive. But she's also another one that has very deep thoughts about life and is able to somehow get those into coherent enough form to put in a video and share with all of us, and because I don't have that ability, I find that incredibly creative and just inspiring. Next, I have some booktubers whose positivity I admire, and I of course have to mention Erica Chung. I subscribed to her fairly recently, but I was immediately drawn in by her enthusiasm. It's very obvious how excited about reading she is, and she reads quite a mix of things because she's both in school and getting to choose some fun reading for herself. I haven't watched a ton of her videos, but I can tell that I'm already gonna be really sucked in and really enjoy all of her energy. The other person whose positivity I have to admire is Sam from Novels and Nonsense. I honestly think she could make anything sound nice and lovely. She just seems like such a happy, positive person, and even in her negative reviews, she always manages to put a very positive spin on things and always has constructive criticism rather than just taking down an author or a book, and that's something I really admire because I think negative reviews are very hard to do well. I have several booktubers whose honesty I admire, so I'm gonna limit myself to two here, and first of all, we have to of course mention Vanessa from Chbosky. Vanessa is one of the few people on BookTube I know of that can sustain a 9-minute long negative review while not making the novel sound like complete trash or talking the author down so much that they sound incompetent. I know this is a skill I personally lack, and I very much admire Vanessa for this skill. The other booktuber whose honesty I definitely admire is One Book One Review, and get ready for this, I'm going to try and pronounce your name. Wiebeke? Did I do that alright? Wiebke? I don't know. She's not only honest about what she reads, but she's also very honest about her opinions on life in general, and to me that is so brave. For example, she put up a video about how she hates the idea that we all have to be so positive all the time, and although that video got mixed reviews from kind of her subscribers as a whole, I personally really enjoyed the honesty of that video and thought that it was incredibly brave, and she puts out a lot of videos like that, so if you like kind of a mix of video themes, definitely go check out her channel. When I read that one of the questions asks for a booktuber that always makes you laugh, I immediately thought of Ron Lit. Now what I really like about Ronnie's humor is that she doesn't just make funny videos about funny books, but she makes Jane Austen funny, she makes Aphra Behn funny, and quite frankly, I think she'd be a fantastic teacher because she'd just trick you into learning all these really interesting things through her humor. One very friendly booktuber is Geraldine from Starian72, and she's another channel I've been following for a while, but I really appreciate that she always has something to comment on all my videos, and the comments are always very engaging and very enthusiastic, and I very much appreciate that. One booktuber that always makes me add books to my TBR is Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings. Now, I think part of that is the fact that Mercedes reads a lot of books that aren't so well known here on BookTube and really goes out of her way to look for books that appeal to her taste in books, regardless of whether or not other people are talking about them. She always gets really beautiful editions of books, and I honestly can't think of the last time that I watched one of Mercedes' videos and then didn't end up strolling over to my Amazon wishlist and adding pretty much everything that she mentioned. Another booktuber that always makes me add things to my TBR is Jen Campbell, of course. She's kind of well known for pushing books on people, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Again, she's somebody who uses her channel to talk about books that are lesser known or lesser hyped, and really highlights different publishers publishing in a wide variety of genres and a wide variety of formats. The other thing about Jen is that there's something magical about the way that she describes all of the books that she talks about that just kind of puts me in this trance of must have that book, and it's completely deadly for my wishlist and TBR. A booktuber who has similar taste in books to me is Sabrina from Unmanaged Mischief. Sabrina is partially responsible for rekindling my interest in and love of Japanese lit, and we definitely have very similar opinions on the Japanese lit that we've read in common. She's also interested in a lot of other literary fiction that I personally am very interested in reading, and even if I haven't gotten to read a book that she's talking about, the way that she talks about it, or the themes that she focuses on, are always things that I always tend to focus on when I read. So I don't know, it's just very eerie almost how similar our tastes are. And just in case you don't believe me, go watch her video. I will link it down below, her BookTuber shoutouts video, and a lot of her answers are actually either similar or the same. There are several booktubers who have completely different taste in books than I do, yet whose channels I really enjoy. One of those is Misty from Misty the Book Rat, who also runs a fantastic YA blog. Misty reads predominantly YA with a mixture of middle grade and children's lit, and although I only read YA and middle grade here and there, I really enjoy her channel because she gives very thorough reviews, and she is so well versed in the genres that she does read that I really trust her opinion. Another booktuber who reads predominantly YA but who I really enjoy watching is Emily from Obsessed Reader, or The Obsessed Reader. I'm not sure. Check the links below. Something that I really enjoy about Emily's channel, and that I think really sets her apart from a lot of booktube channels, is that while she does haul books, she focuses a lot on used books from thrift stores or using her library, and she really advocates for using your library. That's something I personally really appreciate about her content, and I think it really goes to show that you don't have to buy the most beautiful newest editions of things or buy 75 books for a single book haul in order to really engage in a community here on BookTube. This answer is going to match up with Sabrina's answer as well, but for a booktuber who constantly impresses me with how many books she manages to read a month, I have to mention Holly from Library at the Edge of the World. Any booktuber that has to split up their wrap-up into a mid-month wrap-up and an end-of-month wrap-up because they read so much really impresses me, but Holly read like 16 books last month. And she works full-time, and I don't know how that's possible. Now for the last question, I'm supposed to feature a booktuber with less than 500 subscribers, more than 10,000 subscribers, and a booktuber somewhere in the middle. For a booktuber with less than 500 subscribers, I have to mention Abby from the story Magpie, although this is technically cheating because she's closer to 600 subscribers than she is 500, but that's okay, just don't tell the booktube police. I'm constantly surprised that Abby doesn't have more subscribers, and I think she totally deserves more because I really enjoy her content. If you like my channel, I think you'll like her channel as well. She reads a pretty wide variety of books, and she also does favorite videos and film discussions, and I don't know, she just seems like such a sweetheart, and I think she really deserves more subscribers, so please go check her out. For some channels with more than 10,000 subscribers, I of course have to mention Ashley from Climb the Stacks. Her channel is pretty much a gold mine for anybody who's interested in literary fiction or memoir, and although our reading tastes don't always align, I greatly appreciate the quality of her videos. She puts a lot of thought into her analysis of the books that she shares, and I will always go click on one of her videos when I see one in my subscription box. I also want to mention Leslie from Words of a Reader. She reads a lot of children's lit and just generally a lot of things that I don't read, but I find myself constantly sucked in by the way she talks about books. There's something beautiful about the way she describes not only the plots but also her opinions, and I really enjoy that about her channel. For some channels in the middle, I have to start off by mentioning Candace from Librarian Fan Mail. She's another one who has very different reading taste from me, but whose videos I constantly go back to. I also have to mention Marlin from Marlin Alina. This is a channel I've been following for a very long time, and recently it's been kind of undergoing a little bit of a shift and a change, and I don't know if that was a conscious decision on Marlin's part, but I really like the direction she's been taking things. Marlin is somebody that started out reading and talking about mainly YA, but she's been studying English Lit at university and recently has started putting out some very intellectual and very intense discussion videos that I have found myself really enjoying, and I hope she continues with that trend. So those were all of the booktube channels that I wanted to feature in this video. Obviously they're not everybody I'm subscribed to or everybody I enjoy, but that video would have been way too long. So I'm gonna wrap it up super quickly here because I'm running out of space on my phone. That's right, I film on my phone. You don't have to be high-tech to do YouTube. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, all of the channels I talked about will be linked down below. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!